congressmen and senators and the president. If the president ordered us to stand down if the Russians launched nuclear weapons, would he be the president? No, he'd be an enemy officer. This isn't rhetoric, folks. This is what we have. And that's the last domino to fall with the military and the police who get it because they're inside and see it happening, is that it's not the federal government. That's why last year I called for it, Drudge linked to it. A bunch of top law professors read it and agreed with me. My new Declaration of Independence, which I'm going to rewrite soon and call the Declaration of Emergency Survival. The Declaration of SOS. I said, the Declaration of Independence says that it's our right and our duty to reform or abolish a government that's destructive of our basic liberty and freedom. Go read the Declaration of Independence. I'm paraphrasing it. So I said, listen, let's admit it's an occupied government, have the states pull out of it, declaring it illegitimate. Those that sign basically loyalty oaths, follow the Bill of Rights Constitution, and make immediate changes to secure the borders, to secure the debt, to secure the sovereignty, to stabilize the nation instead of cruising it towards destruction, Cloward and Piven, have emergency elections, have the legislatures again reappoint, vote themselves for U.S. senators so there's balance between the states and the feds, and reconstitute the republic. And libertarians and people and anarchic capitalists go, let's just get rid of it all. I guarantee you they're set up for that. The globalists plan to collapse the country later and bring in a North American Union and do what I just said, but with their people. And totally take over. We need to bring the republic back because I'm telling you, the collapse is going to be used to bring in the New World Order. I've studied what they do in other countries. So I'm trying to restore the republic, save America. I'm a restorationist, folks, not a revolutionary. I'm a revolutionary in media, a revolutionary in fighting tyrants that seize the government. But if you technically get down to it, and what did the Weathermen call conservatives and libertarians? It's come out in federal court. They call us counter-revolutionaries. It's come out that the Justice Department in their little commie meetings where they endorse Mao and stuff call us the counter-revolution. You know why? Because we are, folks. We're the Americans in a desperate bid to save the country. That's why we're listed as public enemy #1 by these criminals. And the public is so dumbed down, if they buy it, we lose everything. You're living in the beginning of a Red Dawn scenario. Literally. What happens in Red Dawn? They collapse Latin America into the United States. What's in Rex 84? It gets blamed on Reagan. That was just brought up by the Pentagon when Reagan was in there. This isn't a game, people. This is it. This is the beginning of it. Let's go to the clip with the head of the Border Patrol Retirees Union and the former deputy head of the Border Patrol itself. Here it is.
The whole idea of asymmetrical warfare is to defeat your enemy from within. It is not to attack him from without. Of course, the threat comes from without, but they have to be inside of the United States to effect a successful warfare strategy. If asymmetrical warfare is going to be successful, the first thing that has to be done is to compromise America's defenses against invasion, because they have to have their personnel inside the United States to affect the infrastructure. Our hospitals, our schools, our electric grid, our power supplies, our water supply. Basically, what we call infrastructure. All of those things create our infrastructure. But they have to affect the degeneration from inside the United States. The markers that we're seeing that indicate this is asymmetrical warfare is because the reaction that the United States is taking is they're taking the opportunity of inviting these illegal aliens to come here. They're concentrating them in one place in the United States, the Rio Grande Valley, and they're drawing the resources that are protecting the rest of the United States border to care for the illegal alien children, to help with the overflow of the minors, to transport, to take care of the needs of these people while they're in Homeland Security custody. All this takes the resources that are protecting America at the border off of the border. So now the borders are wide open. This gives the people that are trying to get their infrastructure, their personnel, their drugs, their dirty bombs, their biological weapons, their chemical weapons into the United States without being noticed, because this part of the border is open. It is not being patrolled. It is a perfect military strategy. It doesn't raise any eyebrows because we're focused on the children. But we need to focus on our children, because this is asymmetrical warfare. Everything says it is. And the way the United States government is responding to it is concealing that fact from the American people.
That's right.
In other words, they're assisting in the downfall of America. And you need to understand that.
I think I'm going to play that each hour today. I think everybody should call their friends and family and tune in to hear this. And I want him on. You understand? I've studied warfare, folks. This is asymmetrical warfare directed by the District of Columbia. Get the illegals to vote. Again, that's asymmetrical political warfare by Washington, seized by globalists, who has outside groups to come in and use the political free society to overthrow it. It's a very simple asymmetrical warfare equation. Turn the guns in for the children. Have war with Russia for the children. Put Al-Qaeda in charge for the children. Doesn't matter how crazy it is, it's for the children. We're going to go to your phone calls now, right through into the next hour. Toll-free number to join us, 800-259-9231. Fred, David, Tom, David, Michael, and others were going right to you. But first I wanted to play this clip. Nancy Pelosi yesterday said border children should be treated like refugee baby Jesus. Here's the difference. Herod was ordering all the firstborn to be killed. A repeat of what had been done. Guess nowadays they just tell the mothers it's cool. They go out and kill their kids, their firstborn with abortion. The more things change, the more they stay the same. So Christ had run back to their homeland and then run, I guess, out of there. I mean, constantly people were running. And you can go back to the time of Moses. He was, firstborn was ordered killed. But see, this is liberation theology taught by the Ford Foundation, where they teach that white people are the devil and that everyone else is Christ-like and that Jesus was a communist and that that's why we should have open borders and all be homeless because Christ was homeless and stuff like that. It's socialist communist religion. Let's go to that clip.
I always reference the National Catholic Conference of Bishops statement in which they said baby Jesus was a refugee from violence. Let us not turn away from these children and send them back into a burning building. That's the bishops. And so we have to do this in a way that honors our values, but also protects our border and does so in a way that the American people understand more clearly.
And that's the enemy on MSNBC, White House, globalist command base media. And to be technical, they had fled to Egypt because Herod was going to kill all the firstborn. They were coming back to Israel and back to Bethlehem to register for the census. So I guess that's the story. I'm going from memory. The point is that this is liberation theology to say that these little children are little baby Jesus, 15-year-old gangbangers, and the rest of it. Can I send refugees to Guatemala? No, they'd throw them in the street. The point is they use our openness as a joke. Let's get to one call this hour. I'll go to everybody else in the next. Fred in Nevada, what do you think the most important big story is right now?
I think the entire story is important, and that the narrative to explain why they want to destabilize and collapse our country, the globalist, in the way that you've explained it. But if there was a way to make it understandable to everyone in a short narrative, because when I try to explain it, the logical, most people, they can't understand, well, why would they do this? What would be their reason behind it? They don't understand it. Even the gun argument. Well, the simplest argument is the strictest gun laws are in Mexico. But in Mexico, God forbid you have a spent bullet shell, you're never seen again. You go to jail forever. So obviously the gun laws don't seem to work too well in Mexico. But people need to understand what their intent is and what they're trying to do. because it's so compartmentalized. It sounds crazy when you bring up one little area and another. They can't comprehend it anymore.
But again, the globalists are in central control, so they're able to destabilize things and get more power out of the collapse. I mean, it's actually simple, though, but I understand what you're saying. We'll be right back with more calls. Stay with us. Michael, David, Tom, David, and others.
Thank you for listening to
Your
GCN.
call's coming up back in 70 seconds.
Visit GCNlive.com today.
Hi, I'm Dr. Edward Group. It took me 20 years of searching the globe to find the deposit of the highest purity iodine available. The new Survival Shield X2 is mined from 7,000 to 10,000 feet below the earth in pristine, environmentally clean conditions. The iodine crystals we use are extracted from an ancient 300 million plus year old deposit deep in the earth. It's the strongest nascent iodine on the market today. It delivers 650 micrograms per drop. Experience the new formula. Experience the ancient purity. Shield your family. Survival Shield X2. Available now at InfoWarsLife.com.
X2 from InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.